Hello everybody, my name is Jay and welcome back to my Tech Vault. And to start off today's video, I really wanted to make a video talking about how clock speeds, in particular the number of gigahertz that a processor runs at, is not really determinant of how well a processor will perform in gaming anymore. If you're unfamiliar, AMD recently released, or announced, I guess not released, announced, their AMD Ryzen 3000 series. And a lot of people got really excited about this. And when I was first watching, I was a little disappointed because I was really hoping for a 16 core, which it's likely that we'll still get based on the number of chiplets that are in the processor, and they've already got the proper number of chiplets, so it's definitely very feasible to do. But I want to take today's video to talk about rather clock speeds. In particular, the fact that these next-gen processors have seen a 15% IPC increase, which, if you're unfamiliar with that is, IPC stands for instructions per clock. So basically the way that AMD goes about doing this and testing for this is they use a pretty open benchmark. They do a lot of straightforward testing. So IPC from AMD, if you look in the fine print, really is quite straightforward. And now Intel advertised 18% IPC. Okay, that's cool. But if you look more into the way that they do that, they use a wide range of different tests, and they also use older CPUs. They use CPUs with less memory bandwidth, less memory overclocking. So really what it comes down to is RAM also can have an influence on how well the processor performs, not really the processor itself. So there's a lot of more factors that goes into it, and it's a little bit more, I guess what's the right word, obscured. So it obviously ends up being a shady option, I guess. So for what I want to talk about today is the fact that if everything continues on plan, and everything I believe should, but everything continues on plan, these processors come out, you've got AMD now that will have the top, I believe, depending on what the IPC looks like from Intel and AMD, the top, if not even, with Intel in the number or in the amount of performance you get for a single thread in the processor. So what does that mean for gaming? Well, for gaming, a lot of us like to play those really CPU intensive games. For example, there's a good majority of people, whether you like them or not, that play Fortnite. I personally never even opened the game, but that doesn't mean I'm going to hate on people, because that's what everyone used to do to Minecraft back when that was a thing, and trust me, Minecraft is very dear to my heart, so I'm not going to hate on it. So, for example, Minecraft or Fortnite, whatever you like to use, are very CPU intensive games. So for the single threads to have a higher IPC, you don't necessarily need a higher clock speed. And also with these new processors having a smaller node, we may end up getting more and better overclocking. Now, I don't have hands-on with these processors just yet. I plan to get them when they come out. I plan to make a lot of benchmarks, testing, reviews, etc. But that will be something, if you're interested, subscribe for. If not, so see you hopefully again soon. But basically, I plan to get a physical copy to test that, compare that to an i7, the 8600K, or what is it, 8700K over here, and test it and compare it to stuff, because honestly, if it turns out that AMD, which I believe they will based off of some of the benchmarks and stuff that we've seen, if AMD comes out with a single thread performance lead, or comes out even for a good price, regardless of who you're a fan of, regardless of what your personal beliefs are, or what you're rooting for, AMD will put something extremely tempting on the table. A lot of people will buy it, and then Intel will be trying to innovate to combat that. So really, regardless of who you are in this, we really should take a look at the benchmarks. And I want to make this video because a lot of people, especially my first video on this channel, to be quite honest, I didn't know everything. I still don't know everything, but I didn't know much. And my first video on this channel was talking about Minecraft and how to get a good PC for Minecraft. And I believe I said in that video something along the lines of, and this was I think 3 or 2 years ago, so don't hate on me too bad. Learned a lot since then. But for Minecraft, you want a high clock speed processor, and that's not true. You actually want something that gets the most instructions per clock and somewhat clock speed. Now, really what it comes down to is if AMD can produce on par or even slightly better clock speeds and IPC and performance compared to Intel, then it really boils down to the number of cores, and that will be the next deciding factor. And we all know AMD does a wonderful job with the amount of cores for performance. So if we take a look at the 2700X right here, it's got 8 cores, 16 threads. It's a pretty strong, powerful, tempting option. But if we were to take a look at the 8-core, I believe 3700X that AMD announced, $300 for something that's got a much better IPC and a much better single-thread performance, and then you take a look at the 3800X, and then you take a look at the 3900X, it literally just starts getting out there and pretty impressive that, you know, we're going to see something that's got a lot of cores, especially if you're into streaming or something along those lines, is definitely something that you should seriously consider an AMD option for picking out your gaming machine, even on the top tier. 12 cores will it'll be a long time before that goes obsolete. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day, and for those interested, I do plan on getting a physical processor, whether I purchase that with my own money, for my own benchmarks, other people buy it and I put it in their systems and do benchmarks. Any of those options, I do plan on getting that. So if you're interested, subscribe. If not, I hope I see you again sometime soon, and have a wonderful rest of your day. As always, thank you guys very, very much for watching, and goodbye.